when and where you kind of start the journey of like, do we need an MSP? I would say that almost every company should consider using a technology services provider in some form or fashion, whether that's to outsource a certain component of their IT when it comes to like security, something that they're probably not going to be great at without having lots and lots of people on staff, or being a smaller organization where you're just looking for help in general for IT solutions and strategy. All of those are really important reasons to start down that path, right? And from our position, MSPs are built, should be built in order to help companies understand how to integrate technology into their business strategically, right? And for some period of time in the beginning of the, I would say the late 90s, early 2000s, as companies began to really adopt across the board technology into their day-to-day lives, implementing email solutions, turning internet on, creating
Networking
networks
computers.
where,
Exactly.
all that sort of stuff. It was really seen as this like really strategic, smart person, like somebody shows up and does magic to get things to communicate and people's minds exploded, right?
Yep.
And then by like the late 2010s, right? Like 2015 to 2017, 2018, it was kind of getting to the point where everything was moving to the cloud and, stuff was fairly normalized, where people just kind of assumed that technology was utilitarian. They were like, oh, it's like a light switch, right? When I plug my computer in, I should get resources. And the strategies started to kind of fall away. And I think a lot of companies took for granted that they had transformed their businesses into technology dependent organizations, whether they liked it or not. And they would get frustrated when things didn't immediately work because they kind of had oversimplified how technology had been integrated into their business and just kind of figured it should just work all the time. Like it should just be super stable. And the strategy kind of just started to fall away in business for a little while there. And what we found is during the pandemic, with the rise in cybersecurity issues and rapid adoption of mobile workforces and cloud migrations and that sort of stuff, suddenly like businesses feel like kind of caught flat-footed again. They're like, I don't understand. Like this is hard. Who do I go to? And here we are, the humble MSP back here going, we're still here, right? Like we're still focused on strategy. And so that's really the role that your MSP should fill to really get the most bang for your buck. And if your MSP isn't giving you strategy and they're not talking to you about how you should be looking at technology within your organization and where that spend should go and the difference between a CapEx and an OpEx solution when it comes to your servers or your data or your security and why those things are important and how business insurance and all that combines together. If they're just showing up when the printer's not working, right? Or you're calling them because, you're not getting some of your email, like you might want to rethink your relationship, because honestly, that's the value that you should be looking for in a mature MSP, right? And as your business moves up that maturity level, you're going to want someone to step in and say, hey, these are some things you should consider when it comes to how you're spending your money and what that looks like when it comes to technology. I think that that's really where the MSP plays the most critical role in the business ecosystem, right?
For sure. And I think different MSPs fill that void, fill that need in different ways. And there's also, that's something you need to take into account, that we built our business around it. My entire position is built around solving that problem. There's plenty of MSPs that aren't concerned with that, right? So as you're vetting MSPs or you're looking at your current MSP, you're looking at them going, are they consultative? Are they providing me budget help? Are they providing me audit feedback? Are they providing me all of these things from a consultative and sort of guidance perspective? And if they're not, and that's something likely you need, you may want to look around.
Well, and to that point too, what I'd also recommend is, even if companies are working currently with an MSP, that the relationship with the organization is basically tied to a single technician or engineer that may not be the best use of that MSP's ability, and or that MSP may not be mature enough to support the organization if that engineer were to leave, right?
Yes.
It's super important that when you're working with an MSP to understand you've provided them the trust in your organization from a technology perspective, from a business strategy perspective, right? So it's really important that you're comfortable with like your account manager or your customer success rep, or your lead engineer, but knowing that there are other people in the organization that you can go to if you need to escalate, knowing that they've got a process by which they're documenting your system so other people can help support you rather than that one person being the only person who knows how your systems work, right? Having a mature support desk that has documentation that can help. Like those things are really, really important, right? You wouldn't want to build a solution internally that was dependent upon the knowledge of one person, and then that person can hold you captive, so to speak. We see that from time to time when we're called in, where someone's like, hey, we have an IT person and nobody here likes them and they're rude and we don't think anything is documented and it's all in their head. And we're terrified that they're going to like walk out the door and light a match, right? Like don't supplant that internal business problem with the same problem that you might get at an MSP if you're not working with them holistically, right? Having that conversation with the MSP, either in the current relationship or as you select one, is really, really, really important. Like, how do you support your clients, right? Who do I communicate with? How am I laddered within your organization? How can I escalate? How do you solve problems? That personal touch is super critical, but knowing that the relationship is with the organization as a whole, and there's more than just one touch point, is a lot more important than people think, because it can become a real problem for the organization if the MSP isn't managing their people effectively, or they don't have great documentation, and those people leave and you're stuck.
Yeah, they Jurassic Park you, basically, is what happens, right?
Jurassic Park you? What do you mean?
Yeah. So in Jurassic Park, the entire premise of the movie is basically caused because the IT guy didn't get paid enough.
Hey, that's right.
Yeah. So you don't get Jurassic Parked is something I would say.